They didn't cancel with protests. They canceled with silence. Across America, from Times Square to Yellowstone, something is missing in 2025: tourists. Flights are going unbooked. Hotels are slashing prices. Entire towns that once thrived on visitor traffic are now struggling to survive. The U.S. faces up to a $100 billion economic hit this year due to declining tourism and international pullback. But this story isn't just about money. It's about reputation, perception, and the subtle signal the world is sending by simply not showing up. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe. Because this isn't just a travel video. It's a wake-up call for anyone who still believes America's place in the world is guaranteed. Now let's break down what this collapse really means. Because it's not just a tourism decline. It's a warning of what's coming next. It's not just about flights or hotel prices. It's about something deeper: trust, safety, and the fear of what might happen the moment you land. For many international travelers, the journey to the US no longer feels like an adventure. It feels like a risk. In March 2025, two German teenagers, excited for a 5-week vacation in Hawaii, landed in Honolulu with valid travel authorizations. But within hours, their dream trip turned into a nightmare. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials questioned them intensely, suspicious because they didn't have every hotel booked in advance. They were taken aside, strip-searched, and placed in a holding cell overnight. The next day, they were deported, despite having no criminal record, no charges, and having done nothing wrong. This story made headlines around the world, not just because of the shocking treatment, but because it confirmed what many travelers were already whispering: visiting America is unpredictable. You never know when you'll be the one pulled aside. And this isn't a one-off case. From Australians detained and cavity searched, to Canadians interrogated over political beliefs, to Europeans held without explanation, stories like these are circulating globally. And they are reshaping how the world sees US travel. The result? More and more people are quietly saying, maybe not this year. And that growing hesitation is starting to hit America where it hurts most: the economy. Across the country, international visitor numbers are falling sharply. According to Goldman Sachs, the U.S. could face a $90 billion economic hit in 2025 due to reduced global travel and quiet boycotts. But this isn't just a line item in a financial report. Tourism has long been a cornerstone of the U.S. economy. Last year, it contributed $2.6 trillion and supported more than 20 million jobs nationwide. When international travelers pull back, the damage extends far beyond airlines and hotels. It trickles down to restaurant tables that go unfilled, tour guides who lose steady work, airport taxi drivers waiting longer between fares, and small shop owners forced to cut hours or lay off staff. Major cities like New York, Los Angeles, or Miami may have the resources to soften the blow. But it's the smaller and mid-sized towns, the places that depend heavily on seasonal visitors and cross-border travelers, that feel the deepest cuts. This is the true face of America's tourism collapse. Not dramatic headlines or sudden protests, but the slow, painful erosion of local economies. Quiet streets, shuttered storefronts, communities holding their breath, wondering when, or if, the visitors they rely on will return. Let's look closer at which travelers have disappeared from America's visitor counts. Canada, the U.S.'s largest international tourism source, has pulled back dramatically. By March 2025, flight bookings from Canada to the U.S. had dropped by over 70%, and total cross-border travelers fell by more than 1 million compared to the year before. Airlines responded by cutting 320,000 seats on Canada-US routes. Across Europe, the retreat is just as sharp. Germany and Spain reported over 20% declines in US-bound travel. The UK dropped by 15%, and France by 12%. These are staggering reversals for markets that once filled America's hotels, shops, and restaurants. To make matters worse, several European governments have issued formal travel advisories for the US, amplifying traveler concerns about safety, border scrutiny, and political tensions. For American tourism businesses, these aren't just abstract statistics. Industry surveys show that over half of hotels and travel operators are already losing international bookings. 61% of hoteliers have reported canceled room nights, sometimes by the thousands. Behind each cancellation is a deeper worry. If these travelers don't come back soon, the collapse of international tourism could carve deep scars into the local economies that depend on them. While international tourism numbers fall sharply, the response from the top has been dismissive. President Trump brushed off concerns, telling reporters the decline was not a big deal and assuring Americans to just wait for the real numbers to come out. But on the ground, states like California, which directly feel the pain of lost travelers, are anything but relaxed. California's governor, Gavin Newsom, has been leading a diplomatic push to win visitors back, especially from Canada. He launched the "California Loves Canada" campaign and publicly reminded travelers that California is a world away from Washington's political noise. As Newsom paraphrased in his appeal, "Yes, there's political tension in D.C., but don't let that keep you from experiencing California's beauty and welcoming spirit." Across the country, state and city tourism boards are scrambling to protect their brands, working to separate their local image from the federal tone that's pushing visitors away. This clash between federal messaging and local efforts has become one of the defining tensions in America's tourism crisis. It's no longer just about money or bookings. It's about reputation, perception, and the gradual decline of America's place in the world. Beyond the dollars and jobs, there's another cost to America's tourism collapse. One that's harder to measure, but just as damaging: the loss of reputation and soft power. For decades, visiting the United States was more than a vacation. It was a chance to experience American culture, values, and openness firsthand. This kind of informal diplomacy helped build goodwill around the world. But as international visitors stay away, that soft power steadily erodes. There are fewer cultural exchanges, fewer shared experiences, and fewer chances for travelers to return home as informal ambassadors, carrying stories of the country's warmth and vibrancy. Tourism insiders warn that if this reputational pullback continues, it could have long-term consequences, not just for the travel industry, but for America's global standing. Already, the U.S. is the only country among 184 major economies projected to see a decline in international visitor spending in 2025. A sharp contrast to competitors who are strengthening their global appeal. At its heart, this isn't just a tourism crisis. It's a question of how the world sees the United States, and whether that image is quietly slipping away. As international travelers pull away from the United States, they aren't just staying home. They're choosing other destinations. And those countries are taking full advantage of the shift. Mexico, for example, has seen a surge in Canadian and European travelers who once prioritized the US but now seek what they call a friendlier, more relaxed experience. Across Europe, cities like Paris, Rome, and Barcelona are not just holding steady, they're posting record visitor numbers as travelers redirect their vacation dollars away from America. Even Southeast Asia, from Thailand to Vietnam, is marketing itself as a welcoming, affordable alternative. These destinations are drawing tourists who might once have considered the US, but now favor regions with fewer visa hurdles and political tensions. Industry analysts warn that the longer this shift continues, the harder it will be for America to win these travelers back. Tourism loyalty, once lost, doesn't snap back overnight. It often moves on, and settles elsewhere. Every canceled trip to the US isn't just a lost booking. It's an opportunity gained by America's competitors, and a reminder that in the global tourism race, standing still means falling behind. As international tourism to the US declines, a critical question looms. Can America rebuild its standing before the damage becomes permanent? Reversing this trend will take more than just marketing campaigns or discounted flights. It requires addressing the deeper issues that are reshaping global traveler choices: concerns about safety, political tensions, visa hurdles, and the growing perception that America is no longer as welcoming or predictable as it once was. Tourism leaders and industry analysts are calling for coordinated efforts between federal and state governments. They are also urging fresh diplomatic outreach. They argue that America must not only make it easier for visitors to return, but also make them feel truly welcome again. This means re-evaluating border policies, restoring confidence in the immigration process, and ensuring that travelers aren't treated like suspects for simply entering the country. The treatment of foreign tourists at airports and border crossings must shift from suspicion to hospitality if the U.S. hopes to regain trust. Furthermore, there needs to be a cultural reset in how America presents itself to the world. The messaging from Washington must align with the actions on the ground. It's not enough for local tourism boards to promote sunshine and landmarks if travelers are met with aggressive screenings and hostile environments. The inconsistency between America's branding and its behavior is precisely what's driving people away. Countries that once lost visitors to the U.S. are now capturing them with open arms. They're promoting streamlined visa processes, traveler-friendly policies, and marketing themselves as politically stable and safe. In this new competitive landscape, friendliness, predictability, and affordability are the new currency, and America must decide whether it wants to compete. Tourism is more than economics, it's also diplomacy. Every visitor is a bridge between cultures, a potential advocate, a future business partner, or a friend. And when those bridges disappear, what's left is isolation, not just from revenue, but from relevance. To truly recover, the U.S. needs to listen to the stories of those turned away, to the warnings of tourism insiders, and to the global communities that are voting with their passports. It needs to create new policies that protect security while welcoming opportunity, ensuring that travel to America once again feels like an exciting journey, not a calculated risk. The world is watching. And as 2025 unfolds, the message is becoming clearer. Silence is a form of protest. The empty hotel rooms, the vacant tour buses, and the quiet streets are all saying the same thing: something needs to change. Because if the U.S. doesn't act soon, the decline may not just be temporary. It could become the new normal. This is not just a story about tourists staying away. It's a story about a country at risk of losing one of its greatest strengths: its ability to inspire, to connect, and to welcome the world with open arms. The question now is, will it listen? And as the silence grows louder, America's competitors are seizing the moment. Countries like Portugal, Japan, Costa Rica, and even smaller Eastern European nations are ramping up their international campaigns, offering smoother entry processes, digital nomad visas, and perks that specifically cater to post-pandemic travelers. They're not just filling the vacuum left by declining U.S. tourism. They're learning from America's missteps and positioning themselves as the new global hotspots. The ripple effects of this tourism drop are now being felt beyond the obvious sectors. Universities, which once relied on a steady stream of international students and their families, are seeing declining interest. Conferences and international business summits once held in major U.S. cities are being relocated to friendlier, more accessible destinations. Even film and media productions are choosing other countries for their lower bureaucratic barriers and more welcoming atmospheres. Social media, once a powerful driver of American tourism, has also turned against it in some ways. Travel influencers who once documented their adventures in the U.S. now post warning videos, share negative experiences at immigration, and suggest alternative countries. These posts, reaching millions of viewers, do more damage than traditional media ever could, because they come from real people with real experiences. The digital age has made every tourist an unofficial ambassador, and their messages aren't filtered or edited for diplomacy. For many travelers in 2025, the United States no longer represents the dream destination it once was. Instead, it symbolizes unpredictability, stress, and risk. And while the Statue of Liberty still stands tall in New York Harbor, symbolizing hope and welcome, that symbolism is increasingly at odds with the reality on the ground. The remedy won't come from quick fixes or marketing campaigns alone. It must come from a genuine shift in how the U.S. views its place in the world, not as a fortress to be guarded, but as a destination to be shared. Restoring trust with global travelers will take time, patience, and most importantly, action. That means rethinking not just visa rules or airport procedures, but the entire culture of how the U.S. treats those who wish to visit, study, invest, or explore. America's tourism decline in 2025 is a wake-up call. If the country fails to respond with humility and openness, the silence of the absent tourists may become permanent. But if it chooses to listen, truly listen, it has the chance to rebuild, to renew its image, and to once again become the beacon that travelers from every corner of the world long to see with their own eyes. Because in the end, tourism is not just about profit. It's about people. And right now, people are saying, we don't feel welcome. Will America open its doors once more? Or will it watch the world move on without it? Only time and action will tell. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into why international travelers are turning away from the United States in 2025. At 10 Globe Trips, we're committed to exploring the untold stories behind global travel trends, because understanding the world is the first step to exploring it smarter. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our global travel updates, tips, and insights. Have you faced challenges traveling to the US recently, or have you chosen to visit other countries instead? Share your experience in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep your passports ready, your curiosity alive, and remember, the globe is yours to explore. Safe travels, from all of us at 10 Globe Trips.